Hi, I'm Natalie of SewHungryHippie.com, and I'm going to show you how to sew this Santorini tote. I do have a very in-depth full video for making the Santorini tote on my YouTube channel. You can watch it at any time. This video, I just wanted to show you how I interface these materials, basically, and make this bag so that it stands up, but it's still easy to sew. I also have a bonus thick tassel. These are like thick tassels of vinyl and fabric at the end of this. So, all right, let's get to it. The way I'm making the Santorini tote is with Decovil light interfacing on the bottom and foam interfacing on the top. I don't use fusible, I use sew-in foam. And this is how it ends up. It's really good. So let me show you real quick. I am going to fuse this. The Decovil does have a fusible side, and I do fuse it. And then the top, because it's not wide enough, I just center it. And that way I'm not sewing it in the side seam anyways. The top seam will be sewn here, and then the bottom seam will be sewn when the bag is sewn together. So there we go. All right, let me switch views. Okay, so this one I've already basted my foam in. I'm just giving it another press here. So that one's done. I basted all around the outer edges. And then for the Decovil and the vinyl, oops, it's all backwards. I'm going to flip it over. The shiny fusible side is down on the vinyl. Okay, feels like it's attached. Now we'll sew them together. Okay, so now I'm just going to take, I'll take this top edge with this. Make sure if you're using directional fabric, it's the right sides facing. I use a lot of Anna Maria fabric because so much of it is non-directional. Now I'm going to center this. You can see I didn't cut my vinyl perfectly. That's okay. I just took a roll and cut the height, and then I'll trim this after this is attached. Yeah, I didn't get that just right. Okay. Now I'm going to sew all the way across this edge. Okay, so I just attached that. Now I'm going to press this up. Give it a good press. In general, you don't want to touch your iron to the vinyl, okay? But I'm just keeping on the fabric, or flip it over and iron from this side. I'm going to top stitch with a longer stitch length all the way down, and then I'll trim the vinyl to match the fabric on the sides. All right, here we go. Okay, both sides are done together and top stitched. Now we're going to do the zipper pockets. Okay, I'll do at least one to walk you through it. The biggest thing I want to mention before I forget is when we put this bag together, when we're sewing the outer pieces together to combine the bag, just make sure that these line up. In my early years of sewing, sometimes I'd sew a bag together and it would be like this, or like this. See how that kind of pulls your eye? It's not a big deal. Don't freak out if you do that. Nobody else will really notice. You notice because you sew. But I'm telling you now, make sure these match when you're putting this bag together on both sides of the bag. And when we get to that point, I'm going to remind you again and I'll show you what I do. All right, let's carry on. okay? If you're doing the purse size Santorini, which is the smallest size, the alternate directions are on page 9. So that's what I'm going to do on this size, because that's the size I'm making. Okay, so grab your pocket fabric. I'm going to use this Tula fabric. I've already cut it to size, 11 by 14, right? If this is your first time back sewing in a while, or if this is your first zipper pocket, install these on the lining first. It gives you a little bit of practice before you hit the exterior. Okay, so I've just marked my zipper hole, if you will, the opening. Let me turn on this light. You can see that it, just like in the directions, it's 1 inch down from the top, 1 inch on either side. And then if you're using a number 5, you can get away with a 1/2 inch opening. If you're using a YKK standard zipper, then you want to make sure it's only 3/8 of an inch. Okay, now let's place this properly. I love these acrylic rulers. They're super, super helpful. There is placement. Now, I have to pin this. See that box I drew? I'm going to sew right exactly on that box, on those lines. Okay, let's cut right down the center of this pocket. Do your V-notches. Okay, now we can push it through. Get some double-sided sticky tape or glue. It'll help you press this flat and open properly. All right, I'm having issues finding my sticky tape, so I'm just going to use my Elmer's here. Once I take this over to the iron, it will stick even better. What you want to do is make sure you're rolling this back enough so that your front looks really clean and sharp. And you know what? You can even put pins here if it helps. Just remember that they're there because when you go to put your zipper in, you don't want to stab yourself there. I've done it. Really need to find my tape because that would be a lot easier. This part, if this is looking crummy here, you might need to go in and snip a thread. Now I'm going to take this to the ironing board and I'm going to make sure this looks really good from the front. Because if you don't do anything, see how you see a bunch of fabric, that lining fabric? So you've got to kind of work this down and do a press. Take your time on this part. It can make a big difference in your finished bag. Oh my God, I just touched my iron to the vinyl. That wasn't too good. If you have a mini iron, use it because it can really help. It's not such a big surface as this one is. This is really big and I just touched my vinyl. Ah! I'm going to plug this guy in and use him from now on. Okay, so now I'm going to lay down my zipper. Make sure you're covering the whole opening. I do want to mention, if you're using zipper by the yard, you want to cut it longer, like an inch longer. So just know you don't want your zipper short or it can push through the opening. Oh, and this is the other thing. If you want your pull to be over here, like I do, when you put it in, it's going to feel backwards because you have to put it in this way. So your pull will be on this end, unless you're left-handed or if it doesn't bother you. It's not wrong the other way. I just know how I like mine to be. Now you can use I cannot talk on camera. You can use double-sided sticky tape to hold this in place instead of pins. Y'all know I can't find mine right now, so that's why I've pinned it. I'm a fan of using what you got, do what you need to do, get it done. So there it is. Now I'm just going to sew all the way around. I'm not going to sew over my pins. Don't worry, I'll pull them out as I'm sewing. Okay, so the zipper is sewn in. I can remove all these pins. And now, oh, here's the other side so you can see it. I just took my time. Everything looks nice and neat. So now I'm going to take this up to the top. With that Elmer's, it just pulls right away. And now as I move this out of the way, I'm going to sew across the top here. All right? And then, once that's sewn, I will move this out of the way and sew from the bottom to the top to close this side. And then the same thing on this side. Move this out of the way and sew this shut. When you're sewing, just make sure that you're not going to hit your zipper pull. Sometimes I'll just pull it to the middle. Okay? So, let me do that, and then this pocket is finished. Okay, so the zipper is in, the pocket is functional, everything is good. There are no holes, no gaps anywhere. So I'm ready to rock. I'm going to do that 3 more times so that I have 4 zipper pockets. Or maybe I won't. All right, here's my lining. I am just going to fuse the SF101 onto the wrong side. And then I'll add my pockets, and then we'll be able to put the bag together. Okay, I've got my exteriors finished, my interiors finished. So now I will put the bag together. We just need to prep our zipper. All right, make sure your zipper is exactly cut to size as per the cutting chart. I need to cut mine down a bit. All right, now attach your zipper tabs. I go over this in a lot of detail in the older Santorini bag video in case you need some help with zipper tabs here. So I'm going to do a sewable leather strap. So I'm folding it in half, cutting it into 2 pieces. Now I'm going to measure on each bag and just sew it right into place. You want it right sides together. So if you want this side of the strap to be on the outside, make sure it's sewn right side to right side here. Okay, so now we're going to put the bag together. We have one exterior on the work surface. We're going to place the zipper right sides down and centered. Now, the rest of this video is exactly the same as my other Santorini tote video. So I probably will end up fast forwarding a lot of this. The beauty of this bag is all the steps remain the same regardless of the size that you're making, pretty much. All right, zipper is sewn on. Now I'm going to take a lining piece, right sides together, match that top edge, make sure the sides are good to go, and clip it again. Now I am going to flip it over so that as I'm clipping and as I'm sewing, I can see what's already been sewn, and I'll just go right on top of that line. All right, now I'm going to sew all the way across. So that side is on. I'm going to fold it down. I'm going to take this to the iron and press this seam so the seam is down, and then I'm going to top stitch all the way across. Just make sure that this side, your interior, is also pressed all the way down. This can sometimes creep up. So just take your time. When you're ready and it's pressed, top stitch it if you feel like it. You don't have to, but I do like the look. All right, ready to top stitch. One side is complete. Now let's add the other side. Make sure that you put your strap down if you did your strap like I did. And we're just working with that top edge of the zipper. Place your remaining exterior right side up on the work surface. Place your bag so that your exterior, the one with the strap, is facing the exterior of the other side. Center it, make sure you've got your space on either side here, and then use your clips to hold in place. You might need to work with your straps. See how my straps are right on top of each other, so that I'll have to make sure that's really clipped well, so it's not moving around. I've got all different sizes here. Okay, I'm going to sew all the way across. All right, so that side, this is what it looks like. Sometimes if you're new to this, this will feel wrong. You're not wrong. Flip it over. we're looking at the lining. Remember, I did 4 zipper pockets. You might have a slip-in pocket here or nothing at all. Make sure you're on your lining, facing right sides up. Take your other lining and place it right sides together. Match that top edge, make sure it's centered. Clip in place. I'm going to flip mine over. It's easier for me to see to sew on that line I already stitched. Let's go sew, we're almost there. Boxed corners and we're almost done. Okay, last little bit in your chart, you're gonna find an area that tells you how big your boxed corners are. I feel like this needs to back up. Okay. So I always put my layers together and then I bring in my little measuring tool, draw my boxed corners first, make sure they look even and the same. I love these little squares. There's that one on the exterior. Okay, remember earlier when I told you about matching your sides? This is the point. You want to make sure that this side and this side, this matches up. Do it now. Make sure it's not gonna adjust. See how it's just a smidgen different than how I had it? It's okay. We'll make that up within the seam allowance. It's totally fine. Oh, that one was right on. Hallelujah. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, we're gonna sew this baby up. You know the jam, you know how it's done. Let's rock it out. Okay, now we're gonna box the corners. Pull apart your corner. Match those seams. You know this step, right? Just like easy zipper cases, we're boxing the seams. You may want to use clips or pins. It's always okay. This is my pattern. I've sewn this probably 100 times. Remember to remove your pins so you're not hurting yourself. Now I'm going to box the lining corners. Okay, here's the fun part. We get to pull the bag through the opening in the bottom of the lining. I hope you opened your zipper. If not, get a tool. You can do it. If you have to unpick your side seam a couple of inches to open your zipper, just do it. It's okay. I've had to do that twice this week. It's starting to get dark outside, so I better hurry up. Oh, love it. Oh, such a good join. Love it. And this Decovil light, it's just so good. It gives it so much structure, and it's not hard to sew. It's not hard to push out. I love it. But a lot of different interfacings will work, so don't let that get you caught up if you don't have any Decovil light. Do not let that stop you. Okay, here's this part. I love this part. We gotta push out those zipper tabs. I'm gonna switch to the bird's eye view because you really have to get your fingers in here and push them out. Here it is. See, I'm sticking my fingers in there and I'm pushing that out. Push. Now this side, see how it just wants to kind of bend down and be all tucked in and gross? Stick your finger in there or a tool, push it out. See how that looks good now? There might be threads you need to trim, no biggie. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. I'm going to close that lining and then give this bag a press. Look at that. I mean, hello. Functional, usable, pretty bag. Oh, thanks for sewing with me. I'm on this part. You can press all those wrinkles out of that Moonglow vinyl. If you have any, just press, take some time, press it out. I love it. I love a good mint green, and I mean this fabric, hello, it's my curtains. She's a pretty one. Here's my finished bag. Just before the sun goes down. I love it. I love it.